What the heck is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Kind of Funny Xcast, your home for all things Xbox here at Kind of Funny. Of course, I'm one of your show hosts, Snowbike Mike, and today I am joined by just one of my gaming dads once again. We give nothing but love to Gary Whitta, who I played golf with this weekend. He is doing well. He's working very hard. You'll see him soon enough, but I just have Parris Lilly and a very special guest this week. Parris, I'll introduce you first, and then we can talk about our guest that's joining us on the panel today. Parris, how are you?
A little tired, but I'm good. Doing good. I know we'll jump into it in the show, but I was able to attend the red carpet premiere for Fallout. That's going to be on Amazon, and it was a great night. Great night. Got to see Todd Howard. He sends his love, and also got to hang out with Alana Parris and her mother. Which was really nice to meet her, but it was a great night. I know we'll talk about it a little bit, but yeah, it was fantastic. Also, Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, got to hang out with him. Jaden Smith. I got to see him.
Okay, Parris, we know. We know. You get to meet everybody. We know. You see them all. You're the celebrity. We get it, Parris.
I'm not a celebrity.
You got to meet Jesse Pinkman?
Oh,
dude, it was. Well, here's the thing again, because I'm with Alana. I mean, Alana's a superstar, right? So he's talking to Alana, and I'm texting my kids. I'm like, Jesse Pinkman's here, and they're like, no, and I'm like, yeah. They're like, so I was like, I'll get a picture.
Damn.
So they're talking, and when he was done talking to Alana, I introduced myself. You know, he very nice guy, really super cool. And I just told him, I was like, hey, my kids are not going to believe me if I can't get a picture. And he was like, yeah, let's effing do it. And so we took a picture, but really nice guy. I just told him I was a huge fan of all his work, and yeah, it was cool. And then Jaden Smith was there as well, the Karate Kid, and got him. Danny and I went over and talked to him. He's, again, super nice. Everybody at that event was super nice, but talked to him, took a picture with him as well, took a picture with people from the cast as well. But yeah, man, it was a great night. Really good.
Parris, you're always doing big and important and awesome things. So glad to see you smiling. I'm glad that you had a wicked long weekend, because I know you also had a WrestleMania all weekend that we were talking about. The story has been finished. And you know what? Our story is just beginning here on the Kind of Funny Xcast. We have a very special guest. And Parris, you brought on someone awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about Holly and introduce her to everyone watching and listening?
So I wanted to invite Holly to come on, because I actually kind of sort of met Holly, I think, a couple years ago at Xbox Fan Fest, but then even last year, kind of high buy thing. But since that point, just because Holly's very involved in the Xbox community, does a lot of awesome things, shows up in a lot of community podcasts, and I think very well educated on the world of Xbox. And I thought her perspective would be great on this episode, and she's going to help me in Fallout 76. So I was looking forward to have her on. So happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks, guys, so much for having me. This is like one of the bucket list things, right? To be on Xcast and Kind of Funny. It's just really, really nice to meet you, Mike, and Parris, like a real conversation.
Yeah.
Probably for the first time over this, even though we met in person. So thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on, Holly. It is a pleasure to meet you. It is awesome to finally get you off of Twitter and get you on the podcast so we can talk. It is very exciting for me, and I know Parris as well, who spoke very highly of you. But it is exciting. It's fun. We get to know you, Holly. We get to introduce you to the audience. For those who might not know you, I know you do a lot of community podcasts, like Parris said. Where can maybe they find you, listen to your thoughts along with your friends? And also, I know you do a really cool thing for the Xbox community that I want to drive towards in just a minute, but let's talk about you for a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, I've been a nerd gamer, right, for a long time. So I went to FanFest a couple of years ago. I, on a whim, just entered the contest from Xbox to win a ticket to go, and never thought I'd win. And then I won, and I was like, I can't go. It's like less than a month away. I have dogs. I have a house. I'm like, I can't do this. And then at the last minute, I said, you know what? This is probably like once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm going to do it. Right. So I figured it all out, and I went, and I made a lot of friends there that I didn't expect to make. And that just kind of started opening a lot of doors and meeting a lot of people. I met Colt Eastwood there, and he's been a really, really nice guy, and everybody that he's friends with. they've just really embraced, hey, come on, talk to us, see what you think. And from there, I went again last year and I met some more people, and I'm on now TheInfinite Podcast, which is on Friday nights. It's with Risk It for the Biscuit and a couple of their panel members. Infinite Umbra is another one. And then we also, I've joined the Renegade Realm Podcast, which is on Tuesday nights, which is just 4 people who have different perspectives on gaming. And sometimes we talk about gaming, and sometimes like the crazy thoughts in the brain bounce it off to like drinking tea or whatever silly thing, right, that's going on. But it's just a really fun like hangout session where we try to talk about games and get a little distracted and stuff like that. But they're both on YouTube. It's a lot of fun.
That's terrific stuff. And that's what brought me and Parris together, video games and our love for all things nerdy. And so it is awesome, the friendships that you get to have and share with people. I want to talk about FanFest with you because Parris brought it up. It's so cool that you've gone to it. It is always my dream still to attend the FanFest. I know Parris got to go for just a little bit. And so, yeah, I would love to know your experiences with FanFest, what you like, what you'd love to see improved upon. Let's just talk about it all.
Yeah, that's a big topic. It is one of the coolest, greatest experiences you can do. And now that, the Summer Game Awards have opened up, and they're so close together, I'm hoping to try to go to both of them this year. And then the Ubisoft show is right after the Xbox, what we think is going to be FanFest date. So it's kind of it's become an artificial E3 without being E3, right? Which is really cool. But the Xbox event in 2022 was the first one they'd done since COVID. So it was very small. That's the one that I won the entry to. And it was so enlightening on, being an outsider and loving Xbox, of course, and kind of watching these things from a distance, but then actually going and meeting the people that, you think you read about on Twitter or all of these articles, and then you meet them in person, and then you meet other people like Parris in person, and it's embarrassing. Like, Parris and I were talking about, I said, you want to go up to somebody and say like, hi, hello, I'm me. Like, yeah. I love your work. But you're so like awkward about it because you're like, probably you're thinking they're like, okay, rando, thanks a lot. Like, now what do we talk about? Right. But like, honestly, like everybody I think is genuinely, everybody I've dared myself to go up and talk to and say hello has always been, hey, how are you? It's so nice to meet you. What is your perspective on things? How did you find out on my channel? Just have this like dialogue back and forth. Even last year, I stood and talked to Todd Howard for like 10 minutes. And you'd see all of the friends, all of the guys in the corner, like staring at us like, what are they talking about?
Right.
What? Like, because nobody else was like, we just, you just got to shoot your shot, right? And see how it goes and don't take offense, right? Because it happens all the time. Like it's the end of the day, people get tired, but I've literally never had a negative experience at FanFest. It's just a really good time. You get hyped about the games. You get to see new games. The energy in the audience is just, it's mind blowing, right? You get to see all of the cool things, and they've got the games set up for you to kind of run through and play some of them. They have autograph booths. They have food. They have photo booths, which are a really good time. They had cyberpunk photo face painting with a photo shoot last year. Cool giveaways. We got this really awesome Starfield jacket this year, so I'm rambling, but it's just a great time.
No, it is a great time, and that's why I was saying before we recorded, I've dipped my toe into it, but I've not had the full experience of what FanFest is. But seeing just like you mentioned it already, that's the part. Like I have ridiculous social anxiety. Even last night being at that thing, I'm like panicking, like, oh my God, I'm always terrified to go up and talk to people. But it's taking that risk and introducing yourself and meeting new people, and everybody's just so kind, and you get to hear all these different perspectives and stories from people, that this thing that brought us all together, which is gaming. And this Xbox community has always been great to me, and sounds like it's always been great to you as well. And that's why I love it. And I love the format that they've done now post pandemic, where the actual showcase is pre-taped, but everybody's there together, and you still get that excitement, and everyone's cheering and clapping. And then right after, like you said, you get to experience it, in the actual fan fest itself with everybody. So yeah, it's a great time. I'm hoping they do it again. I have a feeling they will. They haven't officially announced it, but I hope they do it again this year.
Holly, are you all in on FanFest from this point forward? Will you always attend now?
Oh yeah, like last year I did the entry and I thought I didn't get it, and then I got like the second wave. I was doing everything I could to find a way to be a second, because you get a +1 for all your invites. So every year I'm gonna try to find a way to go.
Oh, I love that. You guys make it sound so much fun. Because Parris, you've always told me stories of older E3 when you went out to the big Xbox 360 launch, which I always thought was cool. But hearing Holly and you talk about the community, I think that's what's always driven me towards that E3 experience, is getting to be around similar like-minded gamers, people who love and share the enthusiasm for Xbox like I always have. And that's what I love about FanFest, is bringing the fans together to celebrate that and have those moments like you talked about, Holly, of seeing Todd Howard, Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, being there, celebrating the games that they have to show, shaking hands, and of course, giving you some time out of their day to talk about it and hear from you. The Xbox community, I think, has always been rad. And yeah, I love the idea of FanFest. I always want to see it. One day I will go. But I have this dream in my head of what it is. And it's the ultimate gamer's paradise on a sunny summer afternoon. Video games playable over there, a fun watch party, people mixing and mingling, the hopefully LA air all over you. Sounds like a nice time. I'm jealous.
So Mike, and I know we have a slight delay here with the internet this week, so apologies on that. But Mike, tell Greg, instead of you all having to go back up to the studio and do the reaction there, to stay and sit with the people, man. Like me, I sit in the crowd with the people and we enjoy it, and it's great. I love it. No, I'm being serious on that. I mean, it is part of why I love Xbox, is the community itself. I've obviously been part of it for a very long time, but all the E3s and now the Summer Game Fest things that we get to be a part of, I mean, that's the perk of doing it. And the fact that you have people coming from around the world, spending money on their own dime to come to LA to be a part of it, just shows you how great that community is.
Well, I think I need a special note from one Phil Spencer himself. So, Phil, you want to send an email or video message out to Greg to tell him to let me stay for FanFest? I will 100% stay and have some fun with the community.
Look, you and I can do the reaction live at the LA Live or whatever the heck they're calling this thing. We can do it instead in the studio. How about that, Greg? Huh?
Greg, listen up. Holly, I do want to switch gears because you have another fun thing that you do with the Xbox community with some friends that I really love. I know Parris has a couple. It's the coins that people have seen on social media. Can you tell me about these Xbox-centric coins?
Yeah. So Ben Kenobi on Twitter. Ben was brought to FanFest because he used to do a lot of the like PFPs, the backgrounds that people could use for their Twitter profile. And he caught the attention of Xbox, and Aaron Greenberg used to use a lot of them and brought him to FanFest in 2022. I saw him speak there, but I didn't meet him. But he stuck in my mind because he was so interesting to listen to. And then the next year, last year, saw him there, and I was like, we're going to be friends. And that was it. Like, he was with us the whole weekend, like hung out with us, did everything. We were dragging him around, introducing him to new people, because he's wonderfully shy, but he's brilliant, and his art is just, it's so beautiful. So it's actually he started the coins then after that. And because we're friends, I just reached out and said, if you need any help with the back end stuff, let me know. So Ben is the artist. I am not. My stick figures would have like failed out of high school. Like it's bad, right? But Ben's really, really great. And Sean Labrie also helps and does a lot of the work with us. So it's just the three of us working really hard on these coins, and the demand for them seems to be very high. And we're just really super lucky and blessed that people enjoy his art, and we're trying to get it out there and do giveaways through some of the podcasts and send them out to people in the community that we know do a lot of work for gaming and Xbox.
I dig the coins, and I think they're wicked awesome. I know Parris has a couple. Ben is always so kind in the DMs to reach out to all of us, make sure we know about the latest and greatest coin. Of course, we're looking at the Fallout coin right now. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see Ben on Twitter and all the cool coin designs. If you're listening, trust me, you might want to close your eyes and imagine a dope two-sided coin that you could imagine has a very cool Xbox design on the front with different colorways, and on the back, it's a video game themed side of it. And it is always cool. I know Hellblade is right around the corner. We've seen other editions. I love this PAL World. I liked the Diablo 4 coin as well. I thought that was wicked as well. Yeah, Ben has created something fun. And I think, again, we talk about it, Holly, bringing the community together. I think it's so special and awesome to share.
Yeah, it is. And you kind of think back, and I know it sounds a little cheesy, but you know, where both of us are and in this coin business and all this stuff is really because of Xbox doing these FanFest events, right? Meeting new people, making the connections that we have, and then being able to go out and talk about our love of gaming together with other people that, you know, have similar or differing opinions. Either way is fine, right? As long as there's discourse that's respectful. But we all, you know, really just love gaming, and Xbox kind of brought us together accidentally on purpose, right? So it's pretty cool.
Parris, Holly, it's time to jump into the show. Of course, I have to remind everybody listening and watching out there that this is the Kind of Funny Xcast. We post each and every Thursday at 6 a.m. West Coast, Best Coast time on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, and of course on podcast services around the globe. Don't forget, if you love what we do here at Kind of Funny, consider supporting us with the brand new Kind of Funny membership that you can find on Patreon and at youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, where you get the very best of Kind of Funny. You'll get ad-free viewing on all of our shows. You'll be able to watch them live as we record them. And, of course, you will get daily exclusive content from one Greg Miller that you won't want to miss out on. We'd like to thank those who support us over on Patreon for the month. Our Patreon producers are Delaney Twining, Kieran, Hovo Sapien, and Carl Jacobs. Thank you so much for your support. This week, the Kind of Funny Xcast is sponsored by Factor, Dragon's Dogma 2, and Robinhood, but we'll tell you all about that in just a little bit. Holly and Parris, we got a hit on our hands. Xbox needed a hit to kick off the year. It's been a slow start, but it comes in the form of a TV show. The Fallout TV show has now dropped as of Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, if you're listening and watching this on YouTube and podcast services. But I've watched the entire season for season 1, and it's an absolute hit. And it is nice to celebrate Xbox in a positive way right now with the team from Bethesda and Fallout on the TV show. Parris, you talked about going to the premiere. I want to hear your thoughts on the premiere and what you think of the show. And then I want to gauge Holly's interest in the TV show itself as we now have Fallout coming to the big screen. Parris, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I'll just say super quick on the premiere. Yeah, so I went to the premiere, and red carpet deal. That, like I said, the entire cast was there. You know, we already talked about the after party stuff, but it was a great atmosphere to be in. Watching it at the TCL Chinese Theater in Hollywood on their IMAX screen, so that was awesome. We watched the first 2 episodes there, but similar to you, Amazon sent over the entire season, so I've watched everything. And I think you gave it a 5 out of 5 on the show as well.
5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 5 out of 5. This is right up there with The Last of Us as far as video game adaptations, as far as how good it is, because I think they just nail Fallout. This is Fallout. The satire that you get out of it, the classic music that comes out of it, the violence, the gore, just everything. And you've obviously watched the season, so not to spoil anything, but there's some surprises in there from a story standpoint. Really, really good. I mean, Walton Goggins. I mean, what can you say? I mean, the dude's a legendary actor and everything that he does, but he just nails it as the Ghoul. He's so good. And then I'm blanking on her name right now, so I apologize. But Lucy, who's like the main character, she's like her introduction into this. It has a very Fallout 3-esque vibe to it, with using her as the entry point, into this world. But the Wasteland, Brotherhood of Steel, just everything that they're doing in this is Fallout. And that's what's so good about it. So, outstanding. All the reviews that have been coming out today about it, just spot on, because it is great. It is must watch. So I'm excited for everybody to check it out because it's really, really good.
Holly, you've heard Parris give it glowing reviews over here. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on our Gamescast review. You've probably seen the reviews all over the place from everybody. What is your excitement level on seeing Fallout become a TV show?
Oh, it's like a 12 out of 10. I love Fallout. It's like one of those, you're just like, when they first announced it, you're just like, oh my gosh, please don't screw it up. Please don't screw it up. Because it's just such an iconic franchise, right? And it's so unique, and the humor mixed with all of the craziness that is the idea of the vaults and stuff like that. I can't wait to watch it. I'm also one of those, it's like, when I know something's coming and I'm gonna watch it or I'm gonna play it, I'm like, okay, I know that it's coming. That's it. I don't want to know anything else. I don't want to ruin it. And I want to know what you guys think about it. I did watch, your episode where you talked about it, and it just gets me more and more excited. And actually, I saw Destin say that he thought that this was actually better than The Last of Us. And The Last of Us was really good, right? So it just, it keeps adding to that hype train. And I had a friend that texted me and said, do you want to play this thing tonight? And I was like, no, I want to watch Fallout. What's wrong with you? So, yes, I'm even sitting here with my Vault Tech mug, just getting ready. I can't wait. And Walter Goggins, man, from Justified, that's like one of my favorite shows of all time. And he was amazing in that. So that's actually my most anticipated thing, is like watching the power armor and watching him as a ghoul.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
He's so good. He's so good. But one thing I would also say is that I think the best compliment that I can give this is it made me want to go jump back into Fallout. Because I started playing Fallout 3 again, and now I've been dipping my toe into 76 as well. Anyone that's been paying attention to my social media over the past few weeks notice all of a sudden I'm talking a lot about Fallout and posting screenshots. It's because, we got to see the first 2 episodes at a very early screening. So that instantly got me excited about it. And since then, it's like, I think this series is really going to get people to want to go back and play those games. So much so, and, bringing this back into the actual game portion of this, I'm actually surprised there isn't, at a minimum, like the Fallout 4 update that's coming out with this, or something, an announcement of a new Fallout game in production, because you're going to have people that are going to be hungry to continue this story and to continue wanting to know about the wasteland and the world of Fallout. So I think you're going to see an uptick of people jumping into 3, into 4, New Vegas, and obviously 76.
Yeah, you're going to see a massive uptick in people playing Fallout this weekend and next, with sharing screenshots, like you said, Parris. I think people are going to really attach themselves onto this. Holly made me smile because I think of the music, Parris. The music, it's
so good.
Home in this, and every single title treatment, all 8 episodes have its own little Fallout kind of twist on the title, and it makes you think, oh, I got to go play this one now, or I got to check out this one. And what they did storytelling-wise on keeping the story progressing and wanting you to learn more, but also teaching you about Vault Tech and the Brotherhood of Steel and learning more about those factions. It's like, man, I can't wait to jump back in. I know I personally went back to Fallout 4 and redid the opening of that. I think tomorrow I'm actually going to play every single Fallout and check out all of the openings, because, man, just opening the vault door is so iconic and special in all those that I can't wait to see.
Are you doing it on stream?
We're going to do it on stream. So if you want to stop by, you come by and say hi.
I'm going to be in there trolling. I'll be in there trolling then for sure. Yeah.
Because, I think of 4 was so cool. You know, you kind of forget because they're so old, right? Of like Fallout 3, where were you? What were you doing? And so to relive 4 again, it was like, oh man, I forgot that you do the pre-bomb drop. You're there with the family, and then you run up to the top of the hill to get in the vault. It's just a cool situation, and the series is awesome. It nails it, and I think everyone's going to have fun. I do agree with you, Parris. It is tough that there's no new Fallout game in sight that we could all attach ourselves to, but you have some iconic games in the franchise to go. I look forward to seeing a lot of people share the experience in Fallout 76. I know that game gets a lot of bad raps for its initial launch, but it has really grown, and I think sharing that Fallout experience with your friends is something special that I really love and really enjoy.
So I do want to circle back to 76 because I got a question for Holly about that, but it's like, for me personally, New Vegas is just one of the best video games ever made, period, right? 3 is not that far behind for me. I never got into 4, Mike. It never grabbed me. Maybe I actually do need to go give that a shot and try that again. But I, did the opening and really started going. And I just felt like coming off of New Vegas, it wasn't what I wanted from Fallout at the time. But maybe if I go back to it now, I'll feel differently. But
do you remember meeting Nick Valentine, Parris? Did you?
No,
get that
I do
far?
not.
Okay.
No, I do not.
You got to get to Nick Valentine because that's when the game really picks up because he's the best character.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Like I said, I fully admit I didn't give it a fair shake at the time, so I probably should revisit it. But I do want to talk Fallout 76, and this is where I want to bring Holly into it. First and foremost, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I went through the intro and, I come out and I'm seeing the map and I'm seeing all these different icons of things to do. And I'm confused and people are coming up to me going, hey, please join me on this. And I'm like, wait, I don't know you. Should I be joining? And I'm just confused. So Holly, I know you play a lot of 76. Please
I do.
help me understand what is it about 76 that makes it stand out? Because I know it had its problems early on, but people say it's in a great place right now. So what's kind of that co-op experience that you're having in 76 right now?
Yeah, so I played 76 when it first came out. I hated it. And I feel bad saying it, but I hated it. I was like, well, all right, forget that happened, right? But then you keep seeing more and more stuff popping up and you start hearing other people saying, oh, they added this or they added that. And one of the things that they first complained about was the fact there really weren't any NPCs, right? For you to interact with and talk. And that's a problem, right? So they added all that stuff in. And now, and I think they even recently added it so that when you come out of the vault, you're not level 1, you're level 20, right?
No,
so you can
that is a false statement.
That's false.
Am I level 8 right now? I think I'm level 8. Now, to be fair, I continue to save that I had from a couple years ago, but I'm only like level 8. So it didn't like auto level me up to 20 or anything now with any kind of update.
So I wonder if you start a new character, if you would come out at 20. But I mean, that helps, right? With your perks. Right. But there's something for everybody now. If you love base building, which they introduced in 4, which in 4 I could have cared less. And I loved 4. Like I played the doggone thing out of that, right? But I wasn't into building. And in this one, there's so much building in it that you can do or not do. And it's even me as like a maybe, right? Like I found myself like, oh, a plan. Let me go learn how to do this and because they have plushies. And plushies are like one of the best things ever to put in a video game that you can build and put all over your camp, right? And they're all cute and goofy. But besides that, they have quest lines that go on for hours and hours and hours and hours. Like there's one that I started. I'm level 105 or something like that. I have almost 300 hours in it. And one of the quest lines I started at the beginning, still not even done. And then they added the expeditions, right, with the pit. And now they have Atlantic City, and they just opened Atlantic City up a little bit bigger and then brought some of that back into Appalachia as well through a story change. So it's really, there's just so much to do. And then there's daily events, and then there's public events that open up all the time. And, they're kind of the same, but they do rotate them in and out. So, like I've played a lot, but I'm in there and somebody will come up to me that's like level 2243.
Wow.
You're just like, whoa, or this guy's been playing this game since it dropped. But that's the other cool thing is there's 24, 25 people in a server and you run into someone who's inevitably higher in level than you and they'll just drop all kinds of stuff. Cool gear, cool armor, cool outfits. There's a lot of goofy outfits and that's what I always go for is like, what's the silliest looking thing I can put on? Because that's what I'm going to do. So I have like a sheep's head that's got like, oddball eyes that go different ways and stuff like that, which is armor. So there's just the community is really nice. I don't think I've ever seen anyone, at least in the last like 2 years, grief on purpose. So it's just people coming up, giving you stuff, trying to help you to level up because they want you to play the game. They want you to feel invested in the game because they want the game to continue, right? It's had a bad rap for a long time, but it's fantastic now. And if people could kind of, give it another chance, which I know, right? But there's so much now that it is daunting because you're just like, well, what do I do now?
Well, see, that again is why I was asking that, and I appreciate that because that's the thing. I'm coming in trying to give it another chance after walking away, but there still are a couple other things. And to your point about people willingly helping you, I've already had people throw, dump stuff at me, equipment, things like that, which has been awesome. But like, where do you play? Do you play on Xbox or on PC?
I play on Xbox, and that is one of my biggest complaints. Is there's no crossplay.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to is the fact because I think even Phil Spencer complained about that there isn't crossplay. So hopefully that's something they can update and resolve because even when I've talked about it on social media, I've had people reach out to me on social media wanting to help me, like, oh, come and play with me. I'm on PC, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm on Xbox. I can't. I'd have to start over again, and I don't know if I want to do that or not. So hopefully they can resolve that. But kind of my final question for you on 76 is, do you think this is enough for Fallout right now, or do you want a Fallout 5?
Oh, I want Fallout 5 or Fallout Chicago or Fallout New Vegas 2 or you know what I mean? I want a story driven Fallout, right? I want a traditional Fallout series game. I love 76, but it's just a different game to me. It's got, it's got all the fun stuff. It's got super mutants. It's got all of the things, but it's just not Fallout the way we know it.
I just messaged all my friends because Holly got me so excited that I just said, hey, should we play Fallout 76 again? Because I'm in the mood now.
You should.
Oh, Holly, I love 76 because I had a very close friend of mine, Kevin Asex, who loved 76 and was that person who dove so deep into it that could explain everything to me. We made a really fun and like freeing time of learning and growing. We dropped a nuke together. There's locations in those hills in West Virginia that I will always remember. I liked the colors of that fall kind of tone. I love the hills. I loved the points of interest, right? I think in all Fallout games, you attach yourselves to certain POIs, but like the ski resort that they had, the cute little water park that they had. I go down the list of like, man, I loved all of those. And the fun events, like you brought up, I think they always had one for Halloween where we went trick-or-treating and then ghouls would come and you'd fight off the ghouls. You go grab more candy. And it's like, what a fun time. And I know a lot of people want that single-player experience. And I love that. And you get those in those mainline games. But 76 captured something special for me to share with my friends that I've always wanted in a Elder Scrolls or Fallout Bethesda really experience. And it is a ton of fun if you give it the time, the love, and you try with your friends. I think you'll really enjoy it. So Parris, put me down to join your group. I'll be with you.
Hey, I'm down. Like I said, help me. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, step one, you got to choose Xbox or PC because clearly you got to choose a line. filling the team. They got to fix that. There's got to be crossplay. That's got to be fixed.
Well,
fixed right away.
And I know we're about to move off of this, but I mean, being serious for a second, you would think that has to be a priority to get true crossplay going with that, whether you be on Xbox, PC, or even on PlayStation. You would want everybody to be able to collaborate and play together, because that's just the betterment for the health of the game, the community itself. So hopefully they're working on it. We'll obviously see, but yeah, I'm definitely willing to give it a shot.
Good. I like that. Well, everyone go out there and watch the TV show. Have fun with it. Holly, you're going to have a great night tonight, I promise. I think you'll watch episode 1 and you will have a tough time not pressing play on the next episode and onward, because that's how I felt when we received the screeners, is I could not stop watching all of them in a row. But we got more to talk about right after a word from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Eat stress-free this spring with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. A ton of us here at Kinda Funny have been so thankful for Factor since we've been in the new studio, and you can too. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from a weekly menu of 35 options, including popular options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie. Also, discover more than 60 add-ons every week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks, and beverages to help you stay fueled and feel good all day long. What are you waiting for? Get started today and fuel up your springtime goals. Get chef-prepared meals on the table in 2 minutes with Factor's ready-to-eat meals, so you can get back to doing what you love this spring. Head to factormeals.com/kindafunny50 and use code kindafunny50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box. That's code kindafunny50 at factormeals.com/kindafunny50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box while your subscription is active. This episode is brought to you by Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma 2 is the highly anticipated action RPG successor to the cult classic Dragon's Dogma, released in 2012. Dragon's Dogma 2 boasts a richly detailed and deeply explorable fantasy world created using immersive physics, character AI, and the latest in graphics from Capcom's RE engine. This single-player action RPG challenges players to use their creativity and curiosity to shape their own experience. The world of Dragon's Dogma 2 revolves around choice. Both your party of pawns and enemies alike will react dynamically to your actions on the battlefield, whether you cling to the backs of monsters or seek to dispatch them from afar. Whether you like melee combat, shooting bows and spells, scaling enormous monsters, or using your environment to your advantage, Dragon's Dogma 2 has something for you. And the character creator is easy to use with a ton of customizability to get as creative as you want. So go to dragonsdogma.com to buy the game and start your epic quest today. This episode's brought to you by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024 validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Parris, this is going to be a segment dedicated all to you, and I'm excited to see where Holly falls on this as well, because you know me, I'm a lapsed player. I come back every now and then to Destiny, and I try my best to get back into it, but we got the full developer breakdown of Destiny 2, the final shape, and you're my Destiny guy, so I need to know what you thought of that gameplay preview. We got a new subclass, we got the Transcendent, we also have, of course, new exotic gun traits, we got enemies, so I need to know what's going on in this. Is the hype real? Are we getting back? And then we'll ask Holly if she's all about Destiny 2 as well. Holly, before we start this, do you play Destiny 2?
I haven't played in like 3 years.
Okay, she's just like me, Parris. So you got to sell us.
Okay.
You got to get us
Okay.
excited. But what did you think of the new update with the final shape and all the preview that we saw?
I was going to try and pull a Blues Brothers quote, but I'm going to screw it up, so I'm not. We got to get the band back together, though.
Oh!
We got to get the band back together. We got to go in. It's crazy, man, because in full admission, I've fell off after Lightfall last year. I started to get a little burnt out on it, and I have not played anywhere near as much as I used to. But I'm a day oneer. I was there from the alpha, hardcore through Destiny into Destiny 2 up until recent times, and I was actually concerned as if would the final shape be something that would want to pull me back in so that I could finish this whole 10-year run that they've been doing. And Mike, I'm here to tell you, after watching that gameplay reveal and seeing now that this is the Witness, everything that's currently going on in the story, the new enemy types, with the Dredge, all that's great. But this prismatic that they're adding in now, where you're basically combining different classes into one, and then you can take it to an even higher level with Transcendence, with the light and the dark. Oh my God. I can't, they're going to give us so many different build options in here now to where I'm excited to get my hands on it and just try it for myself. And all I can think about, that raid, Mike, is going to be insanity.
Cool.
If they're allowing us to have this amount of crazy builds, what the hell is this raid going to be? I'm excited for that too. So yeah, got to get the band back together. I have one complaint though.
Okay.
One tiny complaint. This is coming out on June 4th, 2024. That is Summer Game Fest week.
Oh.
It's also 3 weeks before the Elden Ring DLC.
So I can already feel the anxiety that I had when I was super hardcore, when it was literally the only game I would play and I wouldn't play anything else, to where if I'm not there day one, I'm behind. So I already feel that stress of, okay, we got Summer Game Fest coming up. Everybody's gonna be in LA. We want to go do that, but I'm going to want to play Destiny. So while I'm not playing that, I'm going to feel like I'm behind. And I guarantee that raid's probably going to be the week after that. I'm not going to be raid ready. So the fact that I'm already feeling that anxiety and I care, that tells you how dope this was. That's how good it looks. So I'm super excited for the final shape. Can't wait to play it.
That's a glowing little review of the preview right there, Parris. I'm glad to hear that the hype is back for you. I am excited. I got to watch it. I tried to break it down, of course, as the lapsed Destiny 2 player that I am, that enjoys it to a certain degree. I didn't love Lightfall. I kind of, as someone who just jumps in, wants to experience it. I want something meaty that's like, oh, this is cool, it's stringing me along. It just felt a little bit on the lighter side than what I guess I was expecting out of an expansion and like jumping back in. But this one did look cool with, of course, that new subclass of adding the light and the dark. It looked like some wild combinations that they were definitely talking about. And I love the exotic gun traits of being able to mix and match gun traits now on top of your exotic gun traits that you already have. I think is a really cool, kind of gives me, as someone who doesn't play that much, the guns that I have, I guess now I feel like I could have more power with those guns and justify holding on to them, as opposed to having to go get new ones and hope that I have the best stuff possible. The enemies looked cool, Parris. They did look like Destiny scary enemies for sure. I liked a lot of the look.
The irony is with these new enemies they're bringing in with the Dredge, this is kind of what longtime Destiny players had been complaining about, wanting new enemy types, because essentially they've just been the same variants of the Fallen or the Vex or, the Hive, instead of giving us a true new, or the Cabal as well, but a true new enemy type. And this is what this is going to be in here. So yeah, really looking forward to it. I don't know how I'm gonna have the time. That's my only thing, is I just feel stressed out. Like I'm not gonna have enough time to truly invest into it the way I would want to, like I did back in the day. But I'm gonna try because, hey, look, to bring a wrestling term into this, I got to finish the story. Got to finish the story, man.
You have to finish this Destiny story. You've been putting in the years. You've been putting in the work, Parris. I think you and everyone got to return. to stick on the enemy types for just a little bit, I thought the Husk were very cool. Like super melee focused in your face with the giant swords. But when you kill them, they have this weird little like following squid thing that wants to explode on you. I thought that was cool and interesting to kind of like give you that second phase of, oh, I got him down, but there's more to it. I liked the Weaver. It looked like they were able to pull you towards you.
Yeah, it was like a rubber band. Yeah,
I thought that was sick looking. So I am excited for that because, like you said, Parris, we've been playing Destiny for so long that it's one of those of like you get bored of the same enemies over and over again. And I think there's always something that wants more. I want to see something new. I want them to get creative, and I'm happy that now is the time. Right now we get to see that. Is this the end, Parris?
No, I don't think it's the end. I'm sure Holly's going, well, I'll be playing 76. I'm not playing this. But yes and no. I mean, it's because Luke Smith had a thing at the beginning, and there's been rumblings that they may actually do a Destiny 3, but it does sound like there is going to be some continuation beyond the final shape. So how that plays out will be interesting to see. I think if I had to guess, the way that they're doing this prismatic and almost making you classless to where you can do anything that you would want to do, whether you're a Titan, Hunter, or Warlock, this might be a testing bed for whatever Destiny 3 potentially could be in that aspect. So interested to see. I wouldn't expect it anytime soon, a Destiny 3. It's probably some years away. But hell, it's been one hell of a 10-year run for this game. The fact that we're still talking about this game 10 years later says it all. And it's been a roller coaster. Destiny has not been perfect by any means, but it's given me some of the best gaming moments of my life, period. I mean, it's a game that my son, like this is how long this game's been around. My son started playing when he was 9. He's 18. That's how long this has been going on. We started playing when he was 9, kind of holding his hand and, running raids with him, multiplayer, and he's 18 now, and we'll probably still be playing. So that's just crazy to me.
Holly, you hear Parris get excited to look at the future of Destiny. Do you hear any of this? Do you look at some of the trailers and go, man, maybe I should jump back in? Or where do you fall on Destiny nowadays?
Man, it looks really cool. I don't deny Destiny looks awesome if you've kept up with it. But for me, it's so intimidating at this point. And I know they've made concessions and made it, hop back in, please. But I'm just like, there's so many games all the time that I don't have time to relearn. And I have a couple friends who they love Destiny too. They play it all the time. So I get it. The hype is great. I tend to play Call of Duty every day or almost every day at some point. That's a little bit more of my shooter. But I love the look of Destiny. It's awesome. It's just too daunting for me at this point.
That's where I'm at, Holly, is sometimes it just feels overwhelming. And then the race to be, quote, raid ready and the grind that you have to do to be put into that. And I know they've made that grind much easier now of just completing the campaign missions will get you very close to raid ready status where it doesn't feel like, oh, I got to give my entire life up for this. You can enjoy the new content, still be able to progress and get close enough. But I feel you, Holly. I jump in sometimes with my friends. I go, this is too much. It's overwhelming now where I feel like I'm so far behind. I'm ruining their experience. But the gunplay is always fun. The worlds that they've created from Bungie is incredible. The raids are iconic. It's special, right? As growing up as a World of Warcraft kid, I always admired the dungeons and the idea of doing raids with multiple people. And Destiny did that in a first-person shooter that I always was drawn to. I loved Halo growing up. So the idea of working together with friends to solve puzzles and defeat giant bosses in this cool kind of tightened experience, I think has always been fascinating. And they have so many now, right, Parris, that you could jump in, play it all. Like, we talk about finishing the story. You could jump in, see the whole story now and be able to experience pretty much everything, right?
Well, that's part of the complaints is they've vaulted content over the years.
Wow.
So it's not like you can pick it up from the beginning of Destiny 2 and play everything, in order to where we are currently. There's just simply content that's been vaulted away that you can't access right now, which is probably why I would imagine they would want to do a Destiny 3 for all the complaints that you were talking about, the intimidation factor to try and jump in. Let's have a clean slate for everybody versus trying to, because and I know this is I should be on Fire Team chat right now, but because part of the issue has been you want to appease the casual players, then that upsets the hardcore players, right? Then you go too hardcore, the casual players, they're like, this is too complicated for me. I'm not going to go play. So they've, over this decade, have constantly been trying to find that fine line balance of the two. Sometimes they've gotten it right. Sometimes they've skewed way off, and we'll obviously see what they're able to do here for the final shape, because you got to imagine, because I know a lot of people have put the game down that were hardcore, that were playing it, and some of your more prominent streamers that were really into it have moved on to other things. So to try and draw them back in, to try and draw lapsed players like myself back in, they got to make it. They got to make it so that I'm confused and I don't know what I'm doing. They got to make it easy to get back into final shape if they really want to get the population of the game back up.
Okay. Overall, though, Parris, thumbs up. We're excited for June.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I have anxiety. The fact that I have anxiety tells me I'm excited. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, let's keep on the topic of vaulting content and possibly losing content, because I want to talk about Sarah Bond and what she's doing with game preservation. I think that's a big deal that we've talked about, and we kind of know Xbox's stance, but our friends over at Windows Central Gaming, Jez Corden and the crew, did get a Sarah Bond email that went over a number of topics like the new console and them making strides towards that, integration with ABK and the games that we'll see moving forward, and of course, games preservation on Xbox. And let's talk about the game preservation, because I'm sure Holly, myself, and Parris love to play our games and would like to hold on to them and be able to play them forever. And so it sounds like from the email, the quote is, "We formed a new team dedicated to game preservation. Important to all of us at Xbox and the industry itself, we are building on our strong history of delivering backwards compatibility to our players, and we remain committed to bringing forward the amazing library of Xbox games for the future generations of players to enjoy." Holly, what's your thoughts on game preservation? Do you love being able to play old games and have access to them?
Yeah, game preservation is a really interesting conversation now, and I love that Xbox has always been really committed, to this. But as we all move towards these digital libraries, and myself included, I don't want 500 disc case boxes sitting in my house. It's just I don't have room for it, and I play a lot of games. But there's this war all the time, right, about physical versus digital, and I totally get where people with physical media are coming from. And there's a lot of game history that certain consoles or certain generations have not played well with future proofing, right? And I think Sarah even talked about future compatibility, which is important. But we have to be able to go back and take those old games and be able to bring them along. What I would love, honestly, is a program where you could take your old discs and go turn them in and get a digital code in return. That way, I can still bring my library along, not have to worry about having an old console with a disc slot to be able to play that, be able to play it on the go. And, I would, not that I want to promote, having to pay for a game twice, but, if it costs me $5 or $2 or whatever, right, to do that, I would probably honestly do that, because I don't want to have to worry about bringing. I know. But if it made it happen, $2, you can have $2, right? It's not even a coffee anymore. But I'm just saying it would be great if there was a program where you could take those old discs and turn them in. But having access to your old games and being able to access them now, as we see handhelds and other devices coming without CDs or SD card slots or any of the other, mechanisms, cartridges, right? Not having an access to a system like that, it's important. It's part history, right? We need some sort of museum style curation for old games.
Completely agree on that, and that's kind of where I've landed on this, and it was great to see that Xboxes or Sarabon has created an internal team to look at this and try and figure out the best way forward to handle game preservation. And like you're saying, these digital libraries kicking, screaming, we may not like it, we may not say, hey, I want to still have physical media. We are going to an all digital future. It is 100% happening. It's just where technology is headed. So probably by the next generation, that's where we're going to be. My question, and you brought it up, my thought was the physical disc that I still have. Like, as an example, I still have Red Dead Redemption on disc for the Xbox 360. I can play it, I can put it in, I can play it on my Series X right now. If the next Xbox is all digital, now I can't play it. How do I bring that game forward with me? And look, we're not supposed to say the quiet part out loud because they're listening. We don't want them to know this. But to your point, if there was some kind of program that could convert our physical disc into a digital form, basically give us that digital license key for those old games, there's probably some kind of cost with that, I would imagine. I can't see that just being 100% free for everyone. As much as I hate to say it, I'm not promoting this. I want it to be free. But even if there was some kind of small fee for people that truly wanted to make sure that they preserve those physical discs that they have and keep those old backwards compatible games, I like you said, there's going to be an audience that would probably do that. But you don't want to charge too much. You want to make sure it feels fair. It feels reasonable for anybody that wants to invest in that. But yeah, I want to see this happen. I want to make sure that my games that I have, that a digital library from the 360 era, from the Xbox One era, follow me through the Series X era into whatever the next generation is going to be. Which, Mike, I know we've talked a lot about handhelds on here the past few weeks. I happened to be a guest on Unlocked earlier today, so these will probably be back to back, but I said this on Unlocked as well. The other thing that you have to think about, if Microsoft is truly doing this handheld and it is going to emulate the console experience and essentially be another Xbox, it also has to do backwards compatibility as well. We can't have just the console doing it, but here's this handheld hybrid that I can take on the go and plug into my TV. I don't have access to my 360 games as well. So I can understand why they created a team, because if they're looking at all this and looking at the best path forward as we go into the next generation, I'm happy to see that backwards compatibility, and as they're calling it, forwards compatibility, is a part of that, because I do think it's important. Because we talked about this during the business update. One of my biggest questions was digital preservation. I want to make sure that if you want me to continue to invest in your ecosystem, into your digital libraries, I want to make sure that I will continue to have access to all the games that I purchased over the years, because we're reaching the point now where we've invested thousands of dollars to these games. And I want to make sure that whenever I get the itch to want to go play Red Dead Redemption, that I still have access to go play that.
Yeah, I'm right there with both of you. Of course, this is something that's very important, and almost it's an assumption of mine now. It's a expectation that, yeah, backwards compatibility is here to stay, right? Like that team, Jason Round and the team brought on 700 plus titles or whatever the number is to have backwards compatibility, to play better now on different consoles because of the power. And it's almost an assumption of mine of like, yeah, that's here to stay. But game preservation will always be the conversation. It will always be in the future, because we're going to move to the next generation and the next one. And what is happening with all of these games that I move with? And the physical copies is interesting, Holly and Parris, that you bring up of like, am I going to have a disc drive this next generation? Are you going to sell me an additional disc drive to be able to plug these games in and say, hey, I have the ownership rights to this, let me play them? I am interested to see. I'm glad that Xbox still takes this as a priority and really puts a lot of weight into making sure these titles will come with me. But it's wild that we live in such a world now where it's my expectation. I click on those Xbox 360 titles, they work. That's the world that I expect them to do from this point forward, but it's not going to stop. We have to keep moving forward. So it'll be very interesting to see where we go. I'm glad that Sarah Bond and the team are thinking about it. And I look forward to that one day we have a conversation where they can't run anymore. That will be a wild situation, Parris and Holly, for that conversation. Say, oh, those don't work anymore. I will be blown away by that moment for sure. Yeah, I hope it never happens, but what if it does? Like you said, Parris, I have a lot of money tied up with Xbox that it would be heartbreaking to start losing a lot of my library. And I think that's the weird one that we had at the beginning of the year with Xbox and the new changes and what is the vision of Xbox that a lot of people had of like, hey, I've tied up a lot of money to this and the messaging isn't clear anymore. And I'm not quite sure where you're sailing this ship. And I still to this day on, April 10th, 2024, I'm not 100% sure where this ship is going. I'm in it because I have so much money tied up. I am part of the community and I love this console, but this could take a wicked left turn and I might feel out of it with all the money I've put in.
Yeah. And I'm slightly pivoting because I would love to get Holly's perspective on this because you and we've talked this to death.
Yeah.
But you go back to that business update and obviously we've seen the games going into PlayStation and, just a lot of the discourse that we've seen in the community. I know you've seen it as well. What are your feelings on that? Are you concerned about anything that you've heard, seen, or not heard coming from Xbox as we move forward with some of these changes?
It's such a big conversation, isn't it? Because, there's everybody talking in your ear. And then, of course, anytime, humans are adverse to change. So anytime there's something that comes up with change, the world is burning, right?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it is, most times it isn't. So you kind of have to wait and see, what is really the end game here. And we don't know. We are consumers. We are not always meant to know. And sometimes, businesses have to take a risk and they have to see where they can go with something, right or wrong. They have to take risks. Xbox is in third place, as we all know, and it's been brought out there a lot. So for them to try other things or try alternate things,
wow.
They kind of have to.
I'm sorry. Continue.
What?
Look, if you're looking at the camera right now, this is no one except Greg Miller. I already know.
For everyone listening right now, Holly was doing a great job on talking about it, but Greg Miller did have to get involved. He does want Parris to know that Parris does stink, and his thoughts and feelings are known now on the podcast for watching and listening. That means he cares.
Let Mike stay at Fan Fest. Tyrant.
That means he cares.
That's why he did it.
Holly, if you still have the thought, please continue, but we totally get if we just sidetracked you with our shenanigans. So I do apologize on behalf of the team there.
No, you're good. You're good. Shenanigans make life fun. So, I just think that where we are now and where Xbox is going, we don't know. But as we've seen in Xbox's history, they've always been, further ahead in the technology thought, right? They're looking 10 years out, right?
Right.
So they've always kind of made these moves and sometimes they've paid off, sometimes they haven't, but they're going to try it. And where that goes, we'll see. As long as I have my Xbox and as long as they make another Xbox and all of my stuff goes along, and I'll play there. I have a PlayStation, I have a PC, I have an Xbox, I'll be okay. But obviously we know that not everybody has the luxury to have all of those things. And so of course that's the worry. And that is why a lot of people did kind of lose their mind for a while, and understandably so. But I think we're going to be all right. I think it's going to be just fine.
I like that. Level-headed, calm, cool. Let's see where it takes us right now. We believe in the message is good. You two, we have a little bit of time left. We have some fun ones, a couple of previews and a new trailer. So let's shift gears over to an Xbox title that I know everybody's excited for. Funny enough, last week, Parris, we asked you, me and Jeff Grubb, hey, what's up with Hellblade 2? We're like 50 days away. We haven't heard much about it. Then later that week, they were like, hey, guess what? Here's a preview from a number of folks that, got to go hands-on with it, got to talk about it with the team.
The next day.
It was literally the day the episode went up.
That was hilarious.
So it looks like some select folks were invited over to Ninja Theory to play the game, to see a small slice of it, to talk with the team. I know the Xbox Wire had a really good post about talking with the game director and the team at Ninja Theory, sharing some of their thoughts. IGN, I believe, maybe GameSpot as well, but I know IGN because my boy Simon Cardy, he got to play, and man,
his was really good.
I'll tell you what, you two, and I know we have high expectations for this, but the way that Simon put it into words of describing the gameplay to the presentation, this is exciting, and I'm very much pumped for Hellblade 2. It sounds like the audio, again, is kicked to the next level with their audio design. I'm very excited to see the combat and the facial animations, having that all kind of captured in-house and through all their technology that they have with motion capture and more. It sounds like they've put a lot of work and effort into this. And I also really appreciate the team and the game director saying, hey, we're telling our story, and we didn't want to make it extra long for no apparent reason. We wanted to tell our story, and if that's a shorter game, if it's a long game, whatever it is, but we're telling the story, and that's all that matters to us. I thought that was really cool when we talk about an age of padding out the game with extra side quests and small objectives and activities to just hit a certain number, make sure fans feel like they got a massive game. I respect the decision to say, hey, we got a story, and this is what we're going to stick with. But Holly, have you seen anything from Hellblade 2 that gets you excited? What's your hype level for this?
Oh yeah, Hellblade 2 looks phenomenal. I am not one to get into the 30 versus 60 conversation because it's a whole thing, right? And I just want to play a good game, and this looks absolutely stunning, and I am really excited to see it on my TV with my headphones, with all the lights out in the house, and just like experience this, because that's how I feel like it's meant to be played, right? Like just immersive, and to really like get into the psychosis, right, that they're trying to present in it. I'm stoked for it, and it's the first big Xbox game we'll have this year, so I think it's gonna hit all the right notes. And I'm with you. 8 hours, fine. Not every experience is meant to be big. Every experience is meant to be what the artist wants you to have. And if it's 8 hours, that's fine.
Parris, what did you take away from some of the previews?
Can't wait to play it. That's what I took away from it.
Yeah.
I think, and I've been a little grumpy over the years because I keep saying, hey, this is the very first game that we saw that kicked off this generation, right? And now we're finally getting it here next month. I was very happy to see those reviews and to see that people that actually got to see, not only from the visual standpoint, in other words, from a visual standpoint, it is going to live up to the hype. That's great. But from a gameplay standpoint, from a combat standpoint, from the audio that's in there, it's looking great. And it's like, you could tell everyone that was like reading Simon's preview on it. Simon can't wait to play it. He can't wait to play it. He can't wait the next time he gets his hands on it. And that's what you want to get from a preview. So really looking forward to it at the end of May, and getting hands on with it. But I'll also add in, I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I was kind of in and out on it, but the panel that Ninja Theory did, the live stream they did the other day, I believe it was with the Cambridge Institute, I believe I'm saying that correctly, and just kind of diving, they were talking about mental health, because we obviously know with Senua and everything, just how important that is in that aspect of the game. And it was a really great Q&A conversation that they were having. So I would suggest people, if they can, go back and watch it for yourself. Like I said, I need to go back and finish it myself, but I'm like, I've actually started playing Hellblade again. This is why I have no time for anything. I'm like, oh, I'll play 76, and then it's like Squirrel, and then I'm playing that. So I want to play through Senua's Sacrifice again, so I can get ready for when Hellblade 2 comes out. So I'm fresh in my mind the story, but everything about it just looks so good. It really does. And going back playing the first one, putting on these headphones, and you instantly, the audio cues that you get, so good. So imagine what they're going to do in part 2. I can't wait.
So good. I took one away from the I believe it was the Xbox Wire post, talked about Senua's actress and how much she's grown, right? Of like leaving that as she was an editor before they grabbed her and said, okay, you're going to be the leader of this, to her leaving that going, well, what am I supposed to do now? I'm not really an actress. I don't know where I go to now. Hey, we're going to do a second one. And to see her growth and her embody this character, I'm very excited to see that all play out, because it is truly a fascinating story of what this girl has gone through and what she's become in the video game world. Is really exciting stuff. So I'm all about that. You two, I just want to end quickly. Of course, we got a brand new Star Wars Outlaws story trailer, and Star Wars, man, every time that I think I'm out, they pull me right back in. And you know what? You tease me with one good heist. You tease me with a cool character, a cute little dog, and a ragtag crew. And guess what? I'm right back in, you two. I got to know, did the Star Wars Outlaws story trailer excite you and get you back in to this when it comes in June, Parris Lily? Or August, I should say.
Yeah, it's August. Yeah, August 30th. Oh yeah. I'm in. I'm in. And knowing that team over at Massive that's making it, because I'm a big Division fan. Yeah, I know it's going to be good. I'm not too worried about it. I think the time period being between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi is a very fascinating one, because we know so little about that time period. And that was kind of the Empire at the peak of their powers as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the story and seeing a non-Jedi story. I always like those, because there's so many other things that you can talk about and do in that Star Wars universe that doesn't require a Skywalker or a lightsaber. So really looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Holly, are you a Star Wars fan? Are you interested in this?
I do like Star Wars. I watch all the movies, all the Disney shows. And actually The Division is my favorite shooter of all time, even though I main vein Call of Duty. I really love The Division. So everything that Massive does, I'm just like, yes, I'm in. Like they're great. So I have full confidence in this, that this is going to be really an entertaining thing to play, and I'm sure the combat will be super fun, and it just looks like fun. And I love the main character. And I know I'm going to be like all emotional over this little pet that she has that runs around with her, because in any game, when I have a pet and somebody hurts it, it like rips my heart out, and I get this like guttural, like protective. It's like, I'm like, no, I get really upset about it. So it's gonna be really good. I love that they've got this. I think that she looks like a fun character. It seems like she's got a little bit of attitude, which I like, and her little pet seems pretty sassy too. So it's gonna be good.
Yeah, Star Wars nails it with the companions and the cute pets, from the droids to this crazy creature. I am all sold on that. And yeah, the moment I saw Jabba the Hutt, I was like, yep, I'm right back in. I love Jabba, and I love this criminal underworld that we're going to see. And taking on one big heist is always exciting when you think of Star Wars and what that could mean. I think this is going to be a blast. I'm very much looking forward to. I'm sure we'll see more of it this summer, but like Parris said, in August when this comes out, I am all in. I can't wait. But make sure to go check out this story trailer. Parris, it's time to ramp down. I want to make it all about Holly here before we go. Holly, where can everybody find you? What podcasts can they keep up and listen to with you? Where can they find you? And of course, the pin or the coins as well.
Yeah, so I am That Blue Number, all one word, on Twitter and all of the gaming platforms. Just put it everywhere. And I am on the Infinite Podcast on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Central on YouTube, and also on Tuesday nights on the Renegade Realm podcast at 6 p.m. Central. And then, of course, Ben Kenobi and his coins. You can follow him on Twitter, and he does giveaways himself from his account, and then also various podcasts, which are also linked in his Twitter. And thank you guys so much for having me. It's just a true honor, and nice to meet you, Mike.
Holly, it was fantastic.
The nicest person.
Thanks, Holly.
Your energy is so infectious all the time, and it's just it's a pleasure to see you doing what you do. And Parris, always happy to talk to you, and I'm sure I will message you about some silly thing on Twitter at some point in time.
Help me in 76. Yeah. That's what you need to message me on.
Yes, you just need to switch to Xbox. Just rip the Band-Aid off and get on Xbox, and we'll go for it.
No, very, very happy to have you on. Glad you your schedule was free to be able to come on, and this was great. Always great time.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Parris, for introducing Holly to all of us, and I cannot wait to talk to you again. That's right. Hopefully, I'll see you at Xbox Fan Fest this summer. If/when they announce it, we all can go. Parris, you and I will be down there, hopefully. And until then, Kind of Funny best friends, thank you for tuning in to another awesome episode of the Kind of Funny Xcast. We'll be back next week to talk all things Xbox. Have a wonderful week. Bye, gamers.